Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Yappy Hour. Super informal intro. Outside here, I hear some birds. Got my chickens. They're about to go out to free range, so they're making some noise. Anyway, just wanted to do a quick little intro here because the episode 2A, I sat down with my friend Stefanie from Newburgh Nibblers and we talked about some homesteading stuff. We actually talked quite a bit. So I split it up into two episodes because the second part is this part will end up being a little bit more about the business side of homesteading, selling eggs, raising livestock, meat, milk, all that stuff. So I thought it was a good conversation. I thought it would be useful for some folks. So went ahead and split it into the two, and this is the second part. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's yap. So I see the shirt. I was looking at the logo. Yeah. So there you go. So you've got
all my cat fur.
I mean, that was not there like 5 minutes ago. So have you thought, or like, is something in the plans for like farmers market types of stuff where you can maybe sell some of the stuff, or are you really just focusing on the animals and
we are. One of the things our tree clearing guy did was he cut the old roadbed back open.
Okay.
Which is just a little bit inside the trees.
Okay.
So they'll actually be able to go in on my in-laws' property and drive through it and come out on our driveway.
So like they can make a little circle almost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna put a little farm stand.
Like a little stand. Okay.
Yep.
You're just gonna advertise like roadside. Now, is it something you're planning on manning, or is it like gonna do an honor system?
It's gonna be an honor
lockbox
system.
Thing? Yeah.
We'll have a lockbox. We'll have a camera down there.
And then like a Venmo QR code or something.
We'll have some QR codes, or cash, or however you want to do it.
Yeah.
But we're pretty close to the 26 exit, which apparently they're getting ready to shut down. But we're a major cut through for anybody that is like missing the traffic.
Oh, okay.
So anytime something happens, like our road is hopping.
So it was pretty quiet when I came through, but I guess there has to be something going on, and people are like, "Hey, let's cut through here."
Or late traffic.
Okay.
People are doing the golf cart thing now, which
like the street legal type of stuff, or
I guess I don't know. I'm not a big golf cart fan, so it's like our road's 45 miles an hour. It's curvy, however you want it.
Yeah.
But hey, knock yourself out. There'll be a little drive-through for you. You can stop.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Eggs.
Yeah.
If I have stuff extra from the garden, I'm planning on putting it down there too.
So you're gonna do like refrigeration type stuff, or is it gonna be more like you supply it daily, or are you gonna leave stuff there so you'll run power to it?
Yeah, it's gonna have power. Okay. It's actually gonna run off of our barn power.
Oh, which will be on that side, right? Okay.
It'll be right out in front of the house.
Okay.
So we're gonna run that and have a little refrigerator down there. For the eggs, mainly because we refrigerate them right away. That way.
Oh, okay. You do.
They last longer.
Yeah.
We don't wash them. We're not supposed to. The United States is the only place that washes their eggs.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
No.
I wash them whenever I cook them. If they're not like
I don't even
gross,
do that.
I don't even do that.
If there's nothing on them, I'm just using them. I'll rinse my hands off after or whatever, but I'm not. Even some of the dirty eggs, like if there's like some mud or some poo, whatever.
With the rain mud.
But like sometimes if I find like if the other side, like there's a little bit, I'll just crack it on the clean side and then I crush them up and put them back to the chickens. Like I let them dry for a day or two. Exactly. And they go right back.
I cook some of so everything we do here on the homestead gets reused or used almost down to like nothing.
Okay.
So we talked about doing the meat chickens.
Yeah.
So not only do I do that, I make my own chicken stock. So I cook them, filter it and everything, and then I can the stock.
Okay.
I have tons of jars down there. We also roast the bones and grind it up for bone meal.
Okay.
We put the blood on our compost, so it works as blood meal. This stuff's like super expensive at the store.
Yeah.
Like, you might be saving at the grocery store by planting your tomato plant, but you're not saving money. The thing is, you're getting better quality. You know what's in it. It's not about saving money.
Yeah.
Johnny will tell you, we spend so much money. It's probably not even worth it to him. And bless his heart, he funds everything. I don't produce an income. So everything around the house, I get done. But I don't actually make any money.
Yeah.
So every project, we discuss it. The goats we've been talking about for years because they are expensive. The upfront cost, my barn alone is going to be, I think, around $6,000.
Okay.
The fencing is super expensive.
Yeah,
wooden posts are like $15 a piece.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
The T-posts, they're like 7 or 8. But goats, they break out. They're escape artists.
Yeah.
You have to build your fencing a certain way, which ours alternate between being inside and outside of the post.
Okay.
Because they lean on it.
Oh, okay.
But you also don't want like a big dog like we have a German Shepherd,
Mhm.
pushing on the outside and pushing it in.
Yeah.
So you have to do it kind of on both sides. They like we said, we can't just tie it to a tree and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
They have shelters, they have hay feeders that keep it out of the rain, all this
Mhm.
stuff. But it's a huge upfront cost.
Yeah. And right now it's all expenses though, right?
Yes.
So is the plan to sustain the homestead through the revenue, or is the plan to make it a revenue generating thing?
More to sustain itself.
Okay.
And
Like that's the goal, and if
yes.
you get surplus, great.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
If I make that dollar in revenue or a profit, that the taxes want that's awesome. But that is not the goal. I want to help educate people. I've had somebody recently be like, "Oh yeah, we got a goat and it just died." Like
they don't just die. I mean,
yeah,
sometimes.
he's like, I don't know, like maybe a snake bit it or something. And maybe a snake did bite it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but they don't know how it died.
But no, he just died one day. I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
oh well, did you check it for worms? Like they can die from that. They can get pneumonia just like we can.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like all your house plants that you plant for aesthetic reasons, most of them are toxic.
Yeah.
In fact, my favorite plant is a mandevilla because the hummingbirds love it.
Okay.
And it goes right up my steps. It's gorgeous. Highly toxic.
Oh.
It can kill them very quickly.
Wow.
So it's like I have activated charcoal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, you just made something here. You
Yeah,
go. It's going to taste great.
It's like one of those, yeah.
But I mean, most people don't realize how much goes into it.
Like you were saying, like a lot of people just are like, "Oh, this looks pretty. I'm going to put it up," and they don't think twice about it. And what I was going to ask you was, because you mentioned educating people and stuff, have you thought about, after the 3 years for the LLC, going nonprofit?
I don't know.
It's a little more
I
involved, but not a ton on a smaller scale.
Maybe. I haven't really looked into it. I honestly wasn't really expecting to do a business with this.
Oh, so
it was like
one step at a time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I want to feed my husband and my son better. Like,
right.
That's why I did it. The business actually got it approved by the money backer. Okay. So he's like, okay, well, yeah, if we want to do it as a business, like, absolutely. The majority of the money is going to come from selling kids. Yeah. And stuff like that.
Baby goats.
Baby goats.
Yes.
Yes.
No Epstein here.
No human trafficking, I promise.
Yeah.
According to the boy, I'm good.
Right? That's funny though. But yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yes. So selling the kids, you can generally sell the kids for what you buy the mom for. Okay. As long as you keep the genetic breeding, and like I said, all of my goats are registered. All my Nigerian dwarf goats are registered from the Dairy Goat Association. Okay. So you can see their bloodlines and stuff like that. My Nigerian Nubian mixes, they have not been registered yet. Okay. Because you have to prove so many bloodlines, and the guys that I got them from, they just recently started breeding them, and that's their preferred breed now. Oh, okay. Because when they are breeding them together, they're producing the same quality of milk as the Nigerians, which is the closest to goat or to cow's milk as you can get, milk fat wise, which means the taste should be about the same. Okay. So you're not getting that gamey taste. A lot of people are like, I'll never drink that because it's disgusting. So you want to kind of eliminate that. But this is their preferred breed. In fact, they only bred 2 Nigerian dwarf goats this year. Okay. And we got 3 of them. One's a boy, and he's fixed, so we can't. He's not producing. But we got 2 of their babies, and then they only had a boy from the second one. Okay. So we'll see if we get more from them. They are going to have another one. A different sire is going to breed in the fall, and I'm hoping to get a breeder buck from him. Okay. A buck is the male that's not fixed. A wether is a fixed male. Okay. So we have 4 wethers out there. 2 of them are the rescues, and one of them is one that we got with his siblings. So whenever we do get a buck, those will be his best friends. They are friend goats because they don't do anything. They're pretty much useless. They just walk around and eat, and all of them are friendly. All been bottle fed, so they love you anyway. Some people eat them if they have too many boys. Okay. So they'll raise them up and then eat them. I don't know if I can do that, but we'll see. Hopefully.
See when the time comes how hungry you are.
Yeah. We'll see. I hear it's really good.
Is it? I've never had goats. So.
I might try it.
Never had goat.
If I have one I just really don't like. We'll see. We'll see.
See how they taste.
But yeah, so hopefully we'll be getting one from a different sire. in the fall.
Okay.
We can start breeding. The main holdup on getting a buck right now is that we don't have the girls' pen and we don't have the barn yet.
Okay.
So we want to be able to put them in the barn whenever they birth, especially with like the predators that we've talked about. You don't want them coming up and taking the babies.
Nope.
A lot of people don't like regulate it, so they're just having babies whenever they want to.
Yeah.
They're pretty self-sufficient. They just won't be as friendly. They'll be more standoffish, kind of like the cows and stuff that you see. They're not going to come up and see you when you're at the gate.
Yeah.
They're just off doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And good luck getting their calves. So, but it's kind of like that. Like I said, all these are super friendly. We'll bottle feed them. We also take their horns off, and that's just a safety thing for us, so they don't hit you because they love to rub their face on you, so they don't hurt each other, and they also don't get hurt themselves to get stuck anywhere or anything like that. It's kind of just like overall safety precaution, and all that's done when they're babies.
Okay. So if you're selling them the babies, do they need to be registered a certain way, the same way the ones you received, or are they automatically registered because the one they came from was registered? Like, how does that?
It's kind of like dogs. You still have to sign them up.
Okay.
And then whenever somebody buys them, you transfer them.
Okay.
So it does kind of follow it, but it's more like you're just tacking it on. So it's like they already have theirs. But you have to pay membership and all that.
Well,
kind
yeah,
of stuff.
There's money for everything.
Yes,
Everybody's
got to get their fees.
Everybody get their cut. So, all right. So you're talking selling goats.
Yep.
Stand.
Yep.
Putting the stand up. The yoga stuff. How about like a petting zoo or something?
We're a little iffy on having people on the property.
I was going to say that's probably the X factor there, right? Unless you find a space or set up a temporary one or
exactly.
something.
We'll come to you because you're not going to sue us if you get hurt on your property.
Right.
And that's the big thing. Everybody's so happy now.
Liabilities everywhere.
Yes. Easier to keep people off the property.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
We do have people like that we know. We let them come on and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's like, I'd rather come to you.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to set up the temporary fencing. You can do whatever you want on your property.
Right.
Keeping them from your plants, which we've talked about the toxicity stuff, but even certain trees, like if you wanted to put them on your property and you have trees, maple trees are actually toxic to goats. Not when they're green, but when they start to change in the fall.
Oh.
So when the leaves fall and if they eat the leaves, which generally they're not going to eat off the ground.
Okay.
They like to eat like face high. Even when I cut branches, I stick them in the fence so that way they're pulling on it from there. Okay. Once it hits the ground, they really don't care. They're like, But maple trees, really toxic, especially certain types of maples. Okay. So we actually have one that we have fenced off in their thing that we have to get down. That we didn't realize it until after we put them in there, and it's like, oh, this is a maple tree. Oh. Because of course everything was dead. Right. And we just didn't pay any attention when we built the fence. So big thing. Toxicity is huge.
Well, it sounds like it's so much. Like you really need to do your research before you like put them somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
It needs to be very deliberate.
Yes. But they love pines, and it's really good for them. It's good in vitamins and stuff like that. These people, like we talked about renting out goats. And I've even seen a couple machinery rental places where they rent out billy goats. And it's like, that's really cool, but like, how do you keep them from eating the toxic stuff? They'll go clear your property, but they're going to eat probably everything. Yeah, and unless someone's monitoring, how do you know what they've ingested? Yeah. So it's like, unless I can like physically walk it, we've offered it to a few people that we know personally and are close by, because they scream in the car. Like, oh, they're not car fans. Oh, I was going to ask you, how do you get them? Like, if you go to someone's, like for a party, how are you getting the goats there? So they go in my little car. Okay. My little HRV. Yeah. I put them in a dog kennel, which generally the goat yoga was the biggest thing. So we took all 6. Okay. So that was 2 dog kennels. My son went with me and helped me. We put them on the shipping dollies. Oh yeah. So that's how we transported them. Oh, okay. So it was great. Okay. And it was out of school, so they had like tons of them. So we just wheeled them in there. But that was 6 of them, and that was a lot. We didn't have to take the fencing. Okay. So that helped in my car. Otherwise, we had to take the truck. They scream a lot. Yeah. Just more so when they're by themselves. Like when we did one for Mother's Day, and the 2 goats, they don't really get along in close quarters just because the one's older and the other one's really tiny. Yeah. So they're jealous. Yeah. Is what it comes down to. a little one, I guess, was lonely in her kennel.
Okay.
So she just cried the whole way. And poor Johnny, he just right behind his seat, just screaming.
How long of a ride?
It was like 40 minutes.
Ooh, that's a good ride with some screaming goats. I feel like that's gonna feel longer than 40 minutes.
Exactly. He was done. He's like, I'm not doing this again. He's like,
we need a better system.
He's like, well, you can do it by yourself. When I got the goats, it's about an hour drive over there.
Oh, okay.
The first 3 I brought home, they literally screamed the whole way.
Oof.
Without settling down. The other two that I brought home, they just laid down and after a couple minutes and went to sleep. So it really kind of depends on, I guess, their mood.
Yeah.
How tired they are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for the most part, they're going to make noise. You're going to know that they're in the car. I don't really care. I just turn my radio up a little bit.
It's background noise.
Yes.
They're background singers
roll
now.
the windows down. Why is it really bothering me?
That's fine.
Don't recommend you transporting them in your car. I don't mind, but they're going to get poop everywhere.
Yeah.
Our big boys, we have a trailer.
Oh, okay.
That we put them in. Actually, the go-kart trailer.
Oh, is now the goat trailer?
Yes, okay. It was the goat trailer. Yep. It was cold enough, so they weren't hot.
Oh,
or
okay.
anything like that. So we haven't designated like a livestock trailer or anything to move them.
Mm-hmm.
That worked just fine. Apparently people do like U-Hauls and stuff like that. Yeah.
What about in the summer? Even though you're moving, there's not a lot of airflow in trailers. And the sun hits it, even if you're moving.
Exactly. So I recommend like having a livestock trailer. Something that's going to get air if you're going to do it. If you're just getting babies, the Nigerian dwarf goats, when they're babies, they're like this big.
Oh, okay. So they could go in the back of a... Yeah.
You can like hold them in your lap.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
But for the business stuff, you want to have a better way to...
Yes. So ours go in dog kennels.
Yeah, okay.
And they love it for the most part. In fact, the boy that we took, Max, he just laid down and looked around and he just thought it was the best thing ever. Like, he's super chill. Some of the girls are not super chill. They're like super high maintenance. They want to know what's going on. They want to be able to see. They want to mess with things. Goats are kids. They're toddlers. Everything, they're going to check it out. They're going to put it in their mouth. They're going to chew on it.
Yeah.
I actually got bit by Max the other week. I wasn't paying attention. They only have bottom teeth on the front. Okay. They have no top teeth. It's just like a big gum thing.
Okay.
But they do have top and bottom teeth on the back. So if they can like maneuver something to get back there, they'll chomp on you. Oh. And it hurts. Like he broke my nail. So yeah, there's that. But it's because I wasn't paying attention. Oh. So he was nibbling on me.
I mean, he was just goofing, like a toddler would, just playing around. And
exactly. And he like turned his head, and like my finger was still there. And he got me. Nice. But yeah, I tell people like keep your fingers out of your mouth, or if you do flat palm stuff, and they'll still do it. Yeah. Which is great. Kids like that. But they'll put everything in their mouth. Whether they want to or not, the old cartoon where the goat's eating the can and stuff. Yeah. They'll eat it whether they're supposed to or not. Oh, okay.
So it's a little legit.
Yes. So like the guys I got them from said, you literally spend all of your time trying to keep them from killing themselves. Oh. And that's kind of pretty.
So basically, like a toddler.
Yes, like a small child.
Yeah.
Watch them.
They don't know. Yeah.
Exactly. But there's so much that just people don't really realize. If they don't do their research, people want to put them in their purse and take them.
Yeah, they want to treat them like a pet, and it's like, I mean, I guess to each their own if you have the time to designate. But I just feel like that's not what they're.
Yes, this is livestock.
Yeah, it's not
a pet.
No. Like the chickens, people do something with the chickens, and again, to each their own. I'm not going to judge, but I'll judge.
I've seen them put diapers and they're living in their house. No. And it's like, why do you have a chicken living in your house?
I mean, get a cat or a dog at that point. Like, and it's like, again, people do.
I love my chickens. Yeah, they're entertaining.
They can do their own thing, and like, I don't, never force my opinions on other people. But it's just some of the thought processes there. Just I can't connect with. Like, I just can't relate to it. Yeah. And it's like, didn't you say somebody brought a goat into like a store?
Yes. People are taking their goats to like Tractor Supply and stuff, and it's like
weird to me.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. Like, if you're not doing it. Like, I would do that as like a publicity thing.
Yeah, for sure. Business. Yeah, right, for sure. But not to shop with you.
Yes, and I don't just take my goat shopping.
No.
We don't do that.
No, they don't have service.
They're going to bite
service
stuff.
Goats, right. Yeah, they'll try to put everything in their mouth. And they don't like goat-proof those stores.
No, and they pee and poop all the time.
Yeah, I got to imagine.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of putting a diaper on a goat. So.
No.
Maybe when they're babies.
Yeah.
I haven't had that experience yet.
Yeah, and that could be, and it could be like we talked about earlier, like with the chickens, like where maybe somebody's starting with it and they don't have the capacity
to do it all out.
And but maybe the timing where they when they have the ability to get one or whatever. Yes. I can see that, but like just full on, leashing your goat and walking it around Lowe's or Tractor Supply and just for fun. It's, I don't know. It doesn't connect with me, but people do what people do, I guess. And obviously that's not something you're doing.
No,
your business is more, so your business is more like, so I like it because it's kind of seems like it's more, it's awareness, it's education. But then at the same time, you're benefiting. Well, it's fun too. But then you're also benefiting it from the family because the goats are producing milk.
Eventually, yes.
Right. Eventually, you'll be getting milk from them, and then chickens. Not that you're parading chickens around the parties, but like, but you're eating. But like it's like almost like a complete circle. Which I think gets lost on a lot of people who try to do homesteading. I think, like we talked about, it feels way earlier, but once it's edited, it won't be that earlier. Like where, chicken eggs are expensive. Let me get chickens or milk. Milk's not, but just say hypothetically something happens with milk, I'm going to get it. Go like those are, in my opinion, not dangerous thought processes, but not long term.
Very short term.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not following through all the way. Like that's not a good reason to get started. Yeah, like you need to have more behind it. And I had posted on our social media account for Newberry Nibblers not that long ago, actually, about talking about, I don't want to spend money on tomatoes at the grocery store, so I'm going to start, my garden. You're not saving money. You're reallocating it.
Right.
It's going from one thing to another, and you're going to spend more.
Yeah.
In the long run, if you really just want to save or get better quality product, not exactly save money, get the farmer's market. Yeah. Because they're happy for your business. They're growing it locally. It's not something that, source somewhere else. China didn't grow this and send it to you. Right. Which China owns a lot of land here, so just because you're buying it and it says it's like in Nebraska, it might not be like a U.S. owned company. Right. It might, not American backed. Yeah. Yes. It might not be. They don't always have to follow the same guidelines. Yeah. And that's the big thing for me, which is why I started doing all this. Your guidelines. It's right out your window. Yes, you can see it. I know what they have. You can be washing your hands and see it over the sink. Yeah, 100%. Yep. And like we talked about earlier, like that first egg, we joke it's a $2,000 egg. Like, if I wanted, even with the increase, because we got the chickens before that all happened, but even with the increase, it's not like we go through a ton of eggs. We use a good amount of eggs now because we have them. Yes. But we didn't necessarily go through that many eggs regularly, right? So do you have any eggs you can get for $2,000 even at the current prices, or like they're coming down a little bit now, but like even the really expensive ones? Yeah. So I really hate the labeling. I had somebody recently ask me if we supplement feeding for our free range chickens. So free range has nothing to do with the feed. Right. It literally means that they have access to outdoors. Yep. Doesn't say how long they have to, according to the USDA guidelines, doesn't say how long they can be outside. Doesn't say how big the outside area needs to be. Nothing. What it has in it or anything. Yeah. That has nothing to do with the feed. Right. It literally means that they can go outside. Right. Whether it's in a run or whatever. Yeah. So you have to supplement your feed, especially in the winter. Your chickens are going to starve if you think free range means that they just eat whatever. Yeah, eat off the ground. There's not much alive in the winter. No, right? Your plants, all that kind of stuff. But even if you get the really expensive free range, pasture raised, however they want to word it, which do your research, some of that is actually more stressful for the chicken. When they're doing cage free, that means that they no longer have their own feed. Right. That means that they're competing for feed, which can actually cause your eggs to be lower quality. Yeah. But anyway, I could go on for that forever. Well, no, but you're not wrong. I mean, because people see this stuff and they're like, "Oh, I buy cage free and this." But you just realize that instead of being in one of those little chicken houses, they're basically in that without a roof, and that's like free range because they're technically not indoors. Exactly. But they're not like roaming some 100-acre pasture. Like I'm a free chicken. Exactly. Like it's not what you think. Like what you have. Those are free range and cage free, like what I have. Same again, we're not selling to like supermarkets and stuff, but like when people buy them, the people who know, they know. Yes. To me, and it tastes way
better. Completely different, and they look different.
Yes, like, the color of the yolk is amazingly different.
We have a family that we sell eggs. So really, they're the ones who like we only sell to because they buy like 2-3 dozen a week, and when we're keeping up, that's about what we get. And then I have the dirty ones I keep behind and I use because I don't care. I'm just making 1 or 2 eggs.
But nobody wants
every other
Most
day.
people don't want to buy that.
No. So they just buy the clean, unwashed eggs, and he sent me a picture once, and I've done it at home too. Like the store like cracked in a bowl, and then and like it's summer, depending on what they're eating too, because they do free range, but it's either more yellow or even slightly more on the orange side, and the other ones are more like
orange color is really what you want, and that's
what most of
fresh
so
greens and stuff.
Whereas the other ones are like almost like a pale yellow. Like it's washed out. It's not
like it's bleached.
It's like I know it was yellow, but it's not like vibrant yellow. It's just I know it's yellow on the palette of yellow, but it's not like. And huge difference. And they were just telling me a story this weekend. We had a soccer tournament, and I guess so. One of the girls that's like on the younger kids' teams, stayed over their house, and they had eggs, and then they I don't know if they made omelets or whatever, and then they went home, and like the next weekend had something at their house, their own house, and well, I want to go back to their house. Their eggs taste so much better, and it's like if you haven't had it, you're not missing it, I guess.
But once you've had it,
and if you're just eating eggs, like I just want an egg. Yeah, some people might know, some might not. But if you really pay attention to the flavor, it's huge difference. Huge difference. And I when I go to my parents, I try to go once a week to go have breakfast with them, and they get it from Costco and stuff. And it's the better eggs. And what also not to go too off track, but what most people don't realize, and I know you know this. By the time you get those eggs from the store, they could be 4 to 8 weeks old, depending on where they're coming from.
They're 3 months.
Yeah, they could be up to 3 months.
They bleach them and then they let them sit. To kill everything.
Yeah, that bloom comes off. Yeah, they're processing them, and so the eggs you buy, people are like, "Oh, how old are the eggs that I sell?" My oldest egg that I will sell, I'll use the older ones myself because people can be weird. But like I said, we luckily don't have to deal with the public per se. But people, it's maybe 5 days old, maybe 5 to 7. And people are like, it's 5 to 7. I'm like, do you realize if you go to Teeter or Publix, or I'm not calling out any specific chains, they're all the same. It's the same supply chain.
Commercially
you might be 1 to 3 months old. And so 5 to 7 days, that's still going to be way fresher. And I didn't wash it with bleach. I probably didn't wash it at all. Because I leave the bloom on if it's intact.
Yeah, because you're actually preventing it by leaving it on. When you wash it, it's more likely for you to get an infection or bacteria.
Because then it's all porous and everything soaks through. And it's and we don't refrigerate ours. I know you said you do right away, but we're turning ours over so quickly that we don't need to. And then if we do get past that 1 week, we're these are kind of hanging out. We'll throw some in the cartons, and we have a fridge in the garage. So we'll put them there, so they're not in our way.
I get really old ones. I cook them up.
Well, it's feeding right back to chickens, which is super healthy. I mean, we feed people on some of these groups we were talking about, you feed your chickens chicken? They're
my
dinosaurs. They don't
love
care.
To eat actual chicken.
They don't care. And it's healthy for them, especially if it's your stuff. If you go into a grocery store, and I will eat eggs. My mom was like, do you want to take these eggshells home and feed chicken? I'm like, absolutely not. I am not giving that to my chicken.
Not with whatever they added.
They can have their shells back, but I'm not taking the supermarket. Well, we also have enough to where I can treat them. It's not I'm like, oh, we need eggshells. Let's go buy. But and people don't think that stuff through, because there are people on some of these groups who we're gonna do the chickens, we're gonna do this, want to see, and then they do. They wash it, which isn't bad necessarily if they're eating them quickly, right? Or if they're refrigerating immediately.
Yes, if you wash it, you definitely need to
refrigerate
immediately.
Yeah, and then you want to consume it relatively quickly. So there's a lot. There is a learning curve there. I mean, you're way ahead of me because I
had them for a long
time. Well, true, but I also haven't really looked into the goat stuff. So we took a little break, and you won't see that in the editing, obviously, but there'll be pictures on my Instagram. And I went and I fed one of the babies. It was just holding a bottle. It wasn't anything fancy, but took a picture, sent it to my wife, and she was not very happy because it's not that I don't want the goats. It's just that I want to make sure we have the right environment for them. And I don't know if where we live, even though we have land, I don't know if that's the right area for them. Kind of summarize a little. So, I was saying before, I really like the strategy of the business. And I think a lot of people want a homestead, but they don't realize the expense because it's not cheap. And so unless you have a partner who works and then you handle the homesteading, kind of same situation in our house, but not everyone has that. Sometimes you have 2 working adults. And then it's okay, so either you need to make sure you have the time
and
to put into this.
Birthing with goats, there's no plan. If they're going to do it whenever. And everyone always says it's always the coldest, the wettest, or whatever day. The middle of the night.
It's always inconvenient.
I mean, if you're working full time.
Yeah.
Unless you just have a really awesome, flexible job.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really possible.
Or you scale it accordingly. Like, don't start with goats, start with chickens. And, because I'll be honest, the chickens are not, once they're up and going, like when they're little, you have to check the temperatures and everything. But it's just more monitoring than really a lot of hands-on.
More so like, so that the water doesn't freeze.
Right. Yeah.
Other than that, my chickens pretty much do whatever they want.
Same. Yeah. I mean, as long as the feed's full and the water's full, like this morning, I just quick filled them all up. I was like, oh. And, you know, if they're in the run where they're not free ranging, obviously they're going to go to their food and water more.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, if I'm going to be gone, you know, I don't know what's going to end up being today, 6 hours, 7 hours, whatever it ends up being. Yeah. Like, I just don't want to run the risk of that water being too low. It takes 3 minutes to put a hose in there because we don't even give them, some people give them fancy water and stuff. We just fill it up.
Yeah, ours comes from our well.
We fill it up. Now the feed, obviously we're purposely buying feed, but yeah, we just fill it up, and it's not only a money commitment, but it's a time commitment. And even if you're not running a business, like you guys are kind of turning it into a business, you will need to put the time into it almost as if it is a business.
Yes.
Because you're, you know, 10 goats, 20 chickens, like you got 30 living things on this property plus humans.
Yep.
Right.
And the homesteading's not just like animals. Like a lot of people think it is. But it's not. Like we talked about canning and stuff.
Yeah. The garden.
Yeah. I've canned before, and it's taken me all day because I had over a bushel of green beans. Yeah. And it's like, well, you don't want them to go to waste because that's your time and effort. I mean, plus cost of seeds and fertilizer and all that kind of stuff. So you want to make the most out of it. One of the big things that I started doing was making bread. Like it sounds stupid, but the amount of preservatives in your bread, it's like, oh my goodness. And it just tastes better.
It does taste good. We've done it. We've made bread too. Not regularly, but we've done it. We're like, oh, this is so good.
But it's like during the summer down here, because it's so hot. Yeah. Like I try not to do it during the summer because it's like 50 minutes to bake 2 loaves of bread. Yeah. Homemade pizza, that's even hotter. It's like 500 degrees. Yeah. So certain homestead stuff we can do certain times of the year. Yeah. But it's not always cost effective. More than likely it's not. And it's not always feasible. Like if I worked a full-time job, we wouldn't be getting homemade bread maybe once in a while. Yeah. We wouldn't be having a huge garden because it's so hot. I have to go out 7 o'clock in the morning and come back in by 9, or you'll end up dying in the garden. I'm not laying out there the heat stroke. Sorry. No. It's good and all, but I mean, it's all based on what you can actually do. Yeah. And it's a great idea. It's a great concept, but our society doesn't really allow that anymore. Yeah. We have more traditional gender roles. Johnny makes the money, provides that kind of stuff. And I really got to call him out because I hate the technology part. So he made my website for the Newberry Nibblers. Okay. I do the Facebook stuff, and it is a struggle just because I'm not really big into that kind of stuff. But that's like the main way to reach people now. Yep. It's not really music anymore. Podcasts and advertising for that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's really where it's at. Yeah. Social media, schools, that kind of stuff. In-person events is how you really need to do it. I'm way better at in-person events. I am way better at doing the physical stuff. Yeah. And he does all the electronics. Okay. So that's great. Or I can be like, hey, I really like this design. And he can look at it, that engineer mindset that I do not possess at all. And he'll be like, all right, this is how many pieces of wood we need. This is what we want to, the measurements, all this stuff. Yeah. So he can do that. And it's great. It helps me so much. Yeah. Because I just like to do it, and I am not a planner. Yeah. And it's like, okay.
But the engineering mind.
Yeah. And then he's like, wait. So then like 5 trips to Lowe's, and then we sit there and try and design it. And it's like, okay, so now we've gotten better. We actually design it before we go to Lowe's. Oh, okay. And we have a list of things
like what we need. Yeah. There you go.
But I mean, not everybody has that. Yeah. We have that traditional role where I can do all this. And like I said, I'm not trying to get rich off this. I'm just trying to do more of an awareness thing because people are making these livestock animals pets. Yeah. And it's not exactly best for the pet. Right. Just like people feeding dogs human food. Right. That's not really how that's supposed to be, and it can cause obesity issues. Our dog through no obesity issues has had a knee replacement, and it's like it gets to be costly. Yeah. And it's, I don't know, people just treat them differently. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you go into it, and we've said it a few times, if you go into it with the mindset you're going to save money, I feel like you might be disappointed. Yes, it will disappoint you every time. If you're going in it like where you are, either from a business standpoint, okay, I can respect that, or from a sustainability, self-sustainability standpoint, then But if you're going into it, you need to know. It might be, people's brains work different, right? So you might be like, well, I have all these chickens, I'm saving money on eggs, and you kind of forget that money's already spent, right? It's out the window. Like you spent $2,000 or $1,500, or even some people do it cheaper, but still 500, 500, thousands, 1,000.
Well, even the cost of feed, $15 a bag.
Right. I mean, we go through two. I mean, I got to buy, I buy two because I'm not going to keep going back and forth to the store either. Yeah. You got to, like we talked about, efficiently going out and running errands, right? It's like, well, I'm not going to run to the if I'm driving 30 minutes round trip in an SUV, to load stuff up. Like I'm not, I'm spending money on gas.
Don't forget about the gas.
Yeah, gas. I mean, my time is money, right? I value my money, especially in my consulting business. Like I've assigned a value to my time, so I know what it's worth, and I'm sure you do too. And it's like, so that all factors in, and and one of the things we talked about, and I think I talked about in the last episode, part of the homesteading too allows you to have that freedom of time, because a lot of people, when they see wealthy, like even like the big farms, like the what's the one in Texas? It was on Yellowstone. I forget the name, but it's a real farm.
Oh, 4 Sixes.
Yeah, it's 4 Sixes, the one that the creator owns. And like you can do that. I mean, it maybe for some people it's a goal or it's a dream, but like, oh my God, like what you got to put into that.
That's a huge upfront cost.
Like for me, and I'm probably for you, like it sounds what you're building towards. Like give me goats, give me even pigs, like you said, like bacon, chicken, like some of the things that I know I'm going to use, I can make little money off of to sustain the farm. But now what I have that I don't have in necessarily my bank account is time. And time is freedom, and freedom is wealth, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Like, so I know not everyone chases that, but I also feel like if somebody's watching this episode, it will be labeled as it's like kind of homesteading. We're not going to get a real estate investor probably watching it. We might, maybe. But that's not going to be probably the people who are going to click play. And like, it's a different wealth. It's completely like the last episode was talking about, buying a house, living in it for a year, renting it, and doing that over and over. This is the opposite end of the spectrum of that, where you're living more simple, you're living well within your means, putting some of your money into growing the homestead. But now you've got time, and then are you making money with the business? Probably. Are you making $1 million? No. But you go to birthday parties, you spread awareness, you make money, you pay for yourself here.
We have fun. And
you live in a property where you owe little to no money. For the most part, homesteaders will live more simple. Well, not all of them. I'm not generalizing, but generally speaking, and that's a wealth.
Yeah, for me, it's never been about the big fancy car or the big fancy house. And it's like I have fruit tree. I have a huge orchard out there. We have 5 or 6 different types of fruit that we're growing. Well, more now because I got some bushes recently. I have a medicinal and tea garden at the back of the house, which fence off because your chickens will
everyone will eat it.
But it's like then we have the garden, and then we have the chickens, and then we have the goats, and it's like I want us to be able to survive. Like if another COVID thing happens and you can't get out, or I mean, I'm not a prepper, but right,
but you want to just know you're taken care of.
Yeah,
just in case.
Exactly.
You're not doomsdaying it, but you're like just encasing it.
Yeah, and I'm not. I'm growing meat in the lab. I'm not eating that.
Right.
I know where my meat comes from.
Right.
We actually bought a cow from a friend of ours that has their own farm. Took it down to the butcher and butchered it, and he's out in our freezer, and it's fantastic.
Right.
I mean, I know where it came from.
Right.
Because we know them, we know what it ate. And then the processor, they are obviously inspected, so it's we don't really have to worry about that either.
Right. That's a good point. Like, and I know it kind of seems like we're winding down a little, but you can still eat that way and do that without having all of it yourself.
Yes.
Because you can network within the homesteading and or farming community. Yes. Like, I don't want to own cows. I don't want to do this, but I know a guy who's got a farm.
Exactly. Or has the land.
Right.
Because we don't have the land to have a cow. I would love to raise my own
space.
Cattle. Yeah. But it's like some of them will rent that to you. Some of them have milk shares.
Okay.
Where you can buy milk shares and you get so much milk each week. From their cow or their goats or whatever. I mean, it's a great way to eat locally sourced food where it's not sitting in a warehouse for like the eggs up to 3 months or whatever it is. You're getting it better quality. Yeah. And that's really the big thing for us.
Even if you don't want to do the business of it, you still know what you're eating. And then if you do want to start one and you say, I just want to get chickens to start, you can network with that community. It's like, I can still get the good goat milk from this guy. And I can still get the good meat from this guy.
Yep.
Or if you want to raise meat chickens,
yep.
I can still get the good chickens from this guy. And so that could be also something where you get in the network yep. and like, oh, now we're doing a little bit more on the meat chickens.
Exactly.
We have our portion, and then we sell this off, which then helps go back
yes.
into the business
yes.
and stuff. So.
Like I don't grow strawberries because
right.
they're really hard. So
yeah,
it's like I go to a local farm here, whether I pick my own or they pick them, and I get my strawberries from them.
Yep.
I know where they're sourced.
Yep.
I literally have been in their fields, and that's important to me.
Yeah.
Business stuff aside, if I can make money off of it, mainly because I have excess, right. is the idea I want to share with people. In fact, during COVID, and when the eggs went super scarce, we actually boxed them up and took them to some of the older people that live on our road and just dropped them off. We're like, here you go. We just boxed them up, and some of the older people that couldn't get out or, a lot of them are on fixed incomes, right? Especially out here in the country. I mean, you're going to see a lot of older people in really bad situations as inflation's rising. So it was like we wanted to do our part to drop it off. Yeah. So we just did it along our road. We all three of us got in the car and just dropped them off. That's cool. But some of them kept coming back. Yeah. We didn't sell them at the time. It was more like we just had extra. And it's like, okay, like one of our neighbors baked us brownies. So she'd come fill up her eggs and she'd drop off a thing of brownies. And it's like, this is cool. I can do that. That's cool. Trading and bartering. I mean, that's the other thing. You don't have to necessarily spend money. You can trade with people. Yep. So that's awesome. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up here. Like I said, great information. If you've watched my other episodes, there's one before this, by the way, so far. So I'm my second one. We kind of like to have the guests kind of wrap it up with a quote or something. So I know you said you have your businesses, so why don't you share, how can people get in touch with you guys, socials and stuff? If you're interested in renting some of our baby goats, we have a website at newberrynibblers.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. I have a TikTok as well. Generally, the same videos go on TikTok that go on other social media accounts. I know some people don't like TikTok. I'm not a super big fan. However, their editing stuff is better than Facebook. So I use them for editing. You can check us out, follow us. I post the baby goats drinking milk all the time because it's so cute. And their little tails go. They're just like dogs when they're happy. So check us out. Yep, and I will. So once these gets posted, I'll also tag them, so you should be able to click. Especially on like Instagram, it's super easy tagging, and Facebook. But yeah, definitely check them out. If you have questions, I'm sure you can get in touch with them through the socials. Yep. And yeah, if you guys want to start your own homestead, I think we covered a lot of stuff. Hopefully, gave you good information. Always do your own research for what fits your needs. And I think, it is an enjoyable thing to do as long as you know what you're doing going into it. So, find you some mentors. That's it. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. That's it.